Hold on. Thing for Lisa. You guys hear me? Phone service last night, no issue. Let me see if I put my phone in the front of the van. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. What's up, Ben? Yeah, let me go sit in the front of the van. Like, in the back signal, it's crazy. Like, I don't even have to cool off tomorrow and then the next couple days because today was a match for, you know, exposed, and the heat was just radiating off of the ceiling into the van. More heat was coming through that. So unfortunately, it's kind of coming to an end, but, you know, more importantly, I really need to insulate the ceiling and get the roof panels on so that way. But let me grab my other phone. For some reason, I'm still not seeing chat. Like, it's not updating on my Prism. Here, I'm just gonna set you guys up in my window and turn my camera. Now this is on a stick. What the hell, man? Alright, let's see if that works better. I just won't touch my phone. My hand's probably blocking the antenna. Sucks I can't be comfortable and just stream, you know? Give me a second. Let me reset my internet on my other phone so I can actually see your comments. This is freaking wild, man. If I didn't have to disassemble my air conditioning unit to move my van, I would move my van to a different spot, but it's such a hassle to have to disconnect this AC unit. And it's not letting me use my personal hotspot now either. Wow. Well, I guess I won't be doing a game stream tonight. FCC, how you doing? VS, if I didn't say hello. Ben, hello. Jersey, hello. Lisa, hello. What am I gonna do with my dog in the summer? Well, my dog will be fine in here when I get the van insulated. The ceiling is really the biggest part. Like, once I put 1.25 inches of foam board in the ceiling and then spray foam the rest of it and put the ceiling panels in, the van will stay nice and cold. It's just the heat is coming from up here during the daytime. But also there's only 1 month left of summer, so I'm not as concerned about it. But that's obviously why she's not with me right now, is because I knew it was going to be a relatively hot week, and just to be on the safe side, I didn't want to bring her with me. Because, you know, if it got too hot for me in here today, I could have just gone into work early and been in air conditioning, so not as big of a deal. Hey Cat Eyes, nice to see you. But anyways, I wanted to give people a little look of what the van looks like just on a regular day. I'm not trying to, like, you know, make content or anything like that. I'm going to attempt to move that or anything. It's just like one portion of the van in storage. So I'm not having to dig things out, to use it more so for like temperature. So I just added that. The bed has been a lot more comfortable since I switched to the foam. I've had a lot more comfort with the bed back there. In fact, last night I slept really well. Another thing that I did too is I have to get window covers for all my windows, but the back windows, I actually have window covers back there. So basically, oh, and then the front here, I'll show you guys. This is kind of, here, let me flip the camera around real quick, and does not fit this van window. This van window is way bigger than, like, but I have to hold it up with Gatorade and water bottles, and because it doesn't go all the way across, it won't stay up on its own. So I stole some cardboard, but it fell. It was so hot today. And then back there I actually have magnetic window sunshade. But the window covers during the daytime did make a huge difference. It definitely helped cool things off in here, even with car where the heat was just freaking raining down in front of the AC unit. Because sitting in the chair, anyways. Yeah, I know, it's because I touched my phone. Sorry about that, guys. Hey, Cardio, nice to see ya. Welcome, Dark Underbelly. I've never seen you before, Jokes Wars, but hello. Tanya, Dominique, welcome everybody. Yeah, the service out here is going to be kind of poor. There's not anything I can do about it. In case people are wondering why I'm just staying in the same place for a few nights, it's because my power steering pump failed and it has to be replaced. So instead of driving an hour or two and from work for a few days, my van's already basically set up to be able to live out of it. So I just decided to go ahead and move into my van. And I'm basically just parked up by my job, and this way I'll be able to just go to the mechanic shop, you know, later this week. So that's pretty much the plan. Unfortunately, like always, the mechanic can't get to your vehicle right away. So, but another good thing about it too is I'm actually saving a lot in gas this week. Typically I spend around $90 to $100 a week in fuel, and this week I haven't even had to fill my tank at all because it was a one-way trip, and because I still had reserve fuel from last week, and I still am at like a half of the tank, and I'll save some money from that. That is a huge plus. So either tomorrow or Friday, they're gonna let me know in the morning. They're supposed to swap out my power steering pump, and then once that's replaced, then I'll have power steering and power braking again. Unfortunately, in these older GM model vans, the power steering pump controls also your braking power, because how it works is your power steering, when you use your steering wheel, it builds up pressure to the brakes, and that's how your brakes assist you in, you know, being able to brake your van with some extra help. Tonight, man, there goes my, it was so hot today that it melted the out. That kind of sucked. See what the heat does? The heat's like fucking everything up in here. Guys, against a Gatorade bottle. Anyways, I'm getting that fixed this week. Go camping this coming Sunday, but I ended up picking up an extra shift at work, so I'm actually going to be making some overtime this week for a whole 9-hour shift work, and then I'll be working, so it's fine. Anyways, I'm full-time living in the van, so every day feels like I'm camping, basically. I just don't get to drive to cooler places. What was I gonna say? She came with me on my last camping trip. If you go to my videos and you look up part 1 and part 2 of my last camping trip, she's in all the videos. A lot of fun. No. Let me see if I can connect to my job Wi-Fi real quick. Nah, it's too far away. No, typically I'll tell you guys what I'll do. I'll just go for a little walk outside. I need to go for a walk anyways. I just gotta grab my keys so I can lock up the van. Oh my goodness. Fucking everything falls on me. See, I'm plugged in power here. So one of the perks is I can plug in, and there's a reason I'm staying here for 3 nights versus, you know, at a camp spot. It's because it is so hot right now. I have to be at a place where I can have my air conditioning running all day. And my battery is only strong enough to run my AC for like basically an hour and a half. And I'm getting a new battery installed. Can you guys hear me at all? Somebody comment in chat if you can hear me. Yeah, it's so hot and melted the internet connection too, guys. Internet's gone. I feel like I'm not even live at this point anymore. The chat's not even moving on my phone anymore. You know what? I should have grabbed my other phone and put it in my pocket. Let me go get my other phone and see if this is working. This is crazy. Here, let's do this. You know what? I think I figured out why the internet is so bad. I forgot to switch off. Okay, it's working now. I forgot to turn off my my 4K camera setting for the live. I'm supposed to be in 4K right now, but I'm using my front camera and it uses up a lot of data. All right, I just won't move from this spot because I can read chat when it wasn't working earlier. Well, I'll always be able to plug in, but you know, during the winter time, I'm gonna have what's called a diesel heater, and that doesn't use like. My battery that I have right now is powerful enough to power a diesel heater all day because it's primarily being fueled by diesel. And another reason she's not in the van yet is because I haven't bought the Renogy batteries, and the difference between the other battery system and the Bluetti is the Bluetti is very efficient for things that are smaller in wattage, like smaller wattage use, like computer monitor, PlayStation, lights, charging your phones, using a microwave for like, you know, 10 minutes at tops, you know, to where the battery will last all night. And I'm really happy with my Bluetti. But the other power system, the batteries come measured in amp hours. And basically what I'm doing is I'm getting 4 Renogy batteries, I'm running them in series, and then that will be able to run my air conditioning for an entire day, if not 2 days. I have a 3,000 watt power inverter that's going with those batteries. However, if I decide I want to hook other things up to it, I might, you know, think about upgrading from a 3,000 watt power inverter to a 5,000 watt, just to give myself more headway, you know, in between wattage. But yeah, summer, well, I'm up north right now. So basically how it works up here is after August, it starts to get into fall temperatures, and it's already starting to cool down. Like tomorrow, it's supposed to be, I think, a high of 69 degrees. And, you know, 69 degrees is, you know, to me from Florida, that's like a much cooler temperature than today. Was like in the 90s. You want to see my ghetto rig exhaust for my AC? Look at that. Look at that beautiful job. I'm being sarcastic if you can't tell. I used scrap insulation board and just cut a hole and taped the exhaust to the AC unit to that, and then I cut it to fit the window with it rolled down. But it works. The hot air is coming out of the van, I could feel it. Because what I'm actually really doing with the AC unit is it's going to be in between my bed and my desk, and it's going to be right here. So the AC is actually going to come out right here through, it's going to be a round hole, and there's going to be vents coming out. And the vents will open automatically whenever there's any kind of air coming through it. So the AC unit will actually look, you know, fairly cleaned up when it's all hooked in there. But for right now, I had to get creative because you have to exhaust it out somewhere. Give me 1 second. Well, mostly I've used the marine sealant by Loctite, or Loctite, sorry, Loctite marine sealant. But I've also used clear Gorilla Glue adhesive and liquid nails for some of the smaller things that I wasn't trying to mount. But mostly marine sealant. And actually, you can see my solar panels up there. Those are screwed into the roof, but I also use marine sealant on those as well to help hold that in place. And same thing with the exhaust fan in the back. Appreciate it, Jersey. But yeah, I'm just kind of chilling here for maybe even 3 more nights. It depends what they tell me at the shop tomorrow or Friday. Basically, they're gonna text me in the morning if they got time to squeeze me in tomorrow. If not, then I'll be going Friday, but they still have to evaluate. I'm basically 99% sure that it's the power steering pump that failed, but it also could be that I just have a leak in my compression. The compression hose that comes out of the, or I'm sorry, into the power steering pump and out of it. There's 2 of them, but there could just be a leak, and that would be a much cheaper fix. But I'm just saying power steering pump because that's really what I think is wrong with it. If you guys go back and listen to the beginning of my last camping video, part 1, when I start the van up and I drive down the road, you could actually hear the van whining. Almost sounds like I have a dying cat in my van, is what it sounds like. Look at this. These people see me just standing out here filming. We're closed. Hey, just so you know, the pumps are closed.
Yeah, just the upper window.
Oh, we're out of that too. Yeah, we're out of the tablets to make the water or the window stuff. Yep.
Usually they just pop under the thing and
Yeah, we only do that during the winter time because the things are really expensive to keep filling up and they don't freeze during the winter. But during summertime, we use these tablets and mix it with water, and we pour that in there. It makes kind of like a Windex type stuff for cars.
all right.
Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no worries.
Stay safe, all right?
You too, sir. We're not even, we've been closed for like an hour. Hey, Ben, I appreciate it. Thanks, Ben. Yes. All right, so I'm going to tell you all what I'm doing to the van once I move into it. Because we are 2 weeks away from me having everything done with the van, and I have everything I need in it to survive. But I'm not going to be done with the van. The next project that I have going for this van is I am ordering a ladder Kind of like you see it on like a lot of the 4Runners, like the little ladders, or you'll see them on some vans like this, like a side ladder. There's a black side ladder that I'm getting that clamps to the top and then it bolts in at the bottom. And I'm doing a ladder so during the winter time I can actually climb up there, clean off my, you know, de-ice and clean off my solar panels wherever I am. I'll be able to access my Starlink up there as well. Stuff like that. I'm gonna have to clear snow off of the roof regularly, and it's a very tall van. It's hard to get up there as it is. So the next project I'm doing is I'm adding that, and then up here on the bumper I am adding a kind of like a I forget what it's called, but it's like a metal bumper that goes in front of this bumper, and it's supposed to like protect the front of my vehicle from like hitting a deer on the road or anything like that. And it's gonna also come with a 2,500 pound winch that I'll have in the front. And the reason I'm adding a winch is because I am going off-roading a bunch of times, and my van is only rear-wheel drive. I'm not four-wheel drive. So if you're planning on taking a two-wheel drive off-roading, you have to at least have a winch in the front. So if you get stuck, you can just hook onto something and pull yourself out. So those are the next two things I have lined up for the van. Once, you know, in 2 weeks after I get everything done with it, I'm doing those. I'm taking it back to the mechanic. They're going to put all that in for me. I'm ordering it. I'm actually ordering that stuff off of a van life website. It's literally a whole website dedicated to sell things for van life vehicles. It's not Amazon. It's not, you know, stuff like that. You got to get like good quality. So that's going to be cool. That will make the van look even cooler, you know, with the ladder and then the front guardrail in the front. And then after that, my plan is to get actual off-roading tires. The ones that I found online are 430 a piece. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set aside a month's worth of paychecks, and after a month I'll be able to go get all 4 tires, and they're slightly bigger rims, and they're going to put those on there. So I'll actually have wider tires that stick out. They're also rated for like winter snow driving, all that. You can go all terrain, but because of the tread patterns and also the tread thickness, those tires should last me over a year. So the whole thing's just gonna look completely different. Really what I should be doing is getting a paint job on it, because it definitely could use a paint job, you know, being sanded all the way down, stripped, and then invested. Probably when it's all said and done, I will have invested about 12 grand into this van in a matter of 4 months. But you know, essentially I flipped a $1,000 van into something that's worth a lot more, to be sold as a camper, not just a plain van. All the hard work and labor that went into it. I mean, any one of you can go Google how much it costs to build out a camper van, and the most average price you're going to find to buy a camper van already built out is around $60,000 to $100,000. You can find vans like mine that aren't like, you know, a Mercedes, and these usually go on the market on the Van Life site for, hold on, there's a lot of people out tonight, it's crazy. Usually these can go for about 20 to 30 grand, because nobody wants to take the time to build it out themselves. They just want to get it already built and not pay $100,000 for one. So my future plans are, like, after my first year in the van, I'm gonna evaluate, see where the van's at, see how much money I've had to put into the van to keep it roadworthy, if I even have to. But if it gets to a point where, you know, it needs some work, but I don't really want to invest any more into it, I'm gonna end up selling it, finding a good price to sell it for, to where I actually make a little bit of money, and then taking that money and putting it towards a newer vehicle. So my long-term plans are to build out like a half-size school bus, you know. Yeah, obviously you can't put a price tag on your dream, and I think I did it the right way, especially this is my first project van. I think I did appliances and stuff. I think I did right by just starting out with like a basic style build and then over time upgrading those items. Just to get into it, get it going, see if I even really like the lifestyle, you know, before you invest even more money. But the cool thing is, as long as the van's roadworthy, the van holds its value, and over time it will only increase value because I'll be adding things to it to make it more, you know, appealing to people that want one. One of the things I would like to do in the future, not right now, but in the future, is I would like to rebuild my bed. I actually came up with a much simpler idea for the bed, which would make it sit a little bit lower than it does, which would give me way more head clearance, and which actually in turn would give me more length the lower I would go, so I'm actually in the middle of the van when I'm laying down. But unfortunately, when I built this out, I was thinking I was gonna have my dog under the bed, like it was gonna be a bunk bed. She would be on the bottom bunk and I'd be on the top, and it ended up not working out because wasn't enough room to go any higher with the bed. So it's all right, but if I could rebuild the bed, I totally would. So I might do that in the future. It would only take me probably a few days to rebuild the bed. It's not that big of a deal, but if I rebuild the bed, my plan would be to also remove the desk out of there, and that whole section I would just go long ways with the bed, like almost like a sofa or a futon looking type bed, and I would pull out into a full-size bed. That would be my plan, to do it like that next time. But yo, what's up, Dead Pred? I haven't seen you in a minute. Do you get anxiety or depression in the van? No, not at all, or not yet anyways. I mean, I just started living in it. I've been living in this and sleeping in this van since I went to my camping trip over the weekend. I have not spent a night anywhere else but inside this van since before Valentina and I left on that camping trip. Basically what happened was we went on the camping trip, and remember, it was like a trial run with her to see how it felt, if it was comfortable and I had enough space, and it turned out to work out really well, and the bed was actually very comfortable, surprisingly. And I just decided, I was like, I have everything in here I need now to start sleeping in here. However, I'm not ready to fully matures and it not being finished yet, but at least I could sleep in there. And, you know, more than likely over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be animal sitting while my landlord is out of town for a couple of weeks. Or she might be out of town for 3 weeks, actually. Not sure yet, but I'm going to be at the same place, but I'm still going to be living out of my van. So, and Valentina will actually be in there with me at nighttime. You know what? I can give you guys a view of the van, though, from outside of it. It's just when I go inside, I lose phone service really bad. It's literally a metal cage. It kills all phone reception. That's why I really need to get Starlink, because at least with Starlink, it'll be on the roof. So my signal will be coming to the satellite dish, and then that will go through the wire in the roof to a Wi-Fi router inside the van. Type reflective material in here right now as well. But here's a better view. I even got myself a little trash can for right now. That's the one thing I don't know what to do, is the trash can. I don't know really where to put it. It's always in the way. Like if I want to go out my side door, it's in my way. If I put it in the back, it's in my way of walking. And the only thing, I'm like, where do I put a trash can at? I'm not gonna have under cabinet space. So I just decided, I was like, I'll get a small trash can so I could just easily move it out of the way, but it'll primarily sit when I'm stationary. It'll sit in front of that door. My dog will be going in and out. But yeah, like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. No experience. Like I said, the only thing I've ever physically built wood-wise was a bar years ago for a business I opened. And even with that, like, I had a lot of pointers and help from people who worked for me and a dog, and then included things that make me happy and comfortable. So it just feels like I'm at home. You know, you like when you come out of work, you don't want to get into a vehicle and feel like, ah, shit, I'm sleeping in my car tonight, right? Nobody wants to be like, oh, I'm homeless and I'm in my car. You want to be excited to go home and feel like you're comfortable and have all the things that make you happy and feel cozy. Like you want those nice. In this perspective, when I start traveling out west and going across the country, I will not be, I don't think I'll be depressed or lonely, and I'll feel like I have my home with me. So it'll make me more prone to want to go to new places and check out new places and move around a bunch, because I'll just feel comfortable no matter where I'm at. So I think it'll help with like exploring and getting out there, being more social. You know, I have really bad social anxiety and stuff like that. So I think it'll definitely help with that. 2 seconds. Let me move around again. It's crazy. I don't know, comment in chat if you can hear me. I feel like I lost phone service. 29 FPS, that's not good. Oh, it's going up now to 30. Oh, you know what? If I just go stand in front of this window, I'll have internet. Hold on. Let me turn the Wi-Fi on. I don't know why I didn't even think about this. Oh, okay. All right, now I see the comments a little bit. Well, the internet's not really helping. I'm still about the same amount of signal. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? What's crazy is I'm not really out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm only a couple miles away from a town. I'm literally only a couple miles out, and like a college town, a big city in upstate New York. All right, I see you guys' comments. They're coming through now. They weren't before. But I gotta stand like right here somewhere. When I tried showing in my van, it went out again. Oh, you know what? I can show you guys this. So one of the changes I'm going to be making is this. I'm not going in the van. I'm just opening the doors. So can you just stay open, please? Thank you. All right. So here's the back of my van, right? This is my garage back here. One of the things I'm doing is I'm getting rid of the water. Remember, I had this all built out for a 30-gallon water tank. Let me put my blanket in here. Remember, this is supposed to be a 30-gallon water tank. It's actually to a drawer that pulls out. So no more water tank here. It's gonna be I'm gonna get tracks for in it, like things like pots and pans. And I was like, where am I gonna put all my pots and pans? I don't have room under my counter space for big things like that. So they're gonna go in here. Also in there is gonna be stuff to change, you know, your tire, like a tire iron. What else? Air compressor, stuff like that will be stored in there. I also am ordering a hydraulic tire lift, which will go in that stand thing that I left. And then here is just extra storage right down the middle. And then over here again, that's, you know, my power bank with my batteries for the air conditioning system. And by the way, these are the magnetic window covers I got. These were super cheap. They're magnets and they clip on to where you want them, and it covers pretty much the whole window. They worked really nice today. On this side of them, I don't know if you could see it, but this side they have the reflective material, and that's what helps keep the sun out, or the heat, you know, from coming in. And up here I put my t-shirt in the freaking fan to block it out. So here's the thing, if the exhaust fan was working, like if that exhaust fan turned on and worked, it would not have been as bad in there today, because I would have been able to suck all that heat straight out of my van and it would have went right out the roof, and it would have cooled it down in there by like 12 degrees is what it's supposed to do. And they just mailed me out the replacement one. It took them 2 weeks to finally send me a replacement. And I should get it, they said, by August 6th. And what we're doing is we're not replacing the entire unit. We're just replacing the face of it where all the electronical components are. We're just going to reconnect that to the one we have mounted in there. And then I'm going to hang on to the other pieces, you know, that have like spare parts in case that ever like cracked or broke. And I'm on the road somewhere and I need to replace it, so. Oh, actually, Ben, that's a good point. I am going to have to get music equipment once I'm full-time, you know, traveling. And I do feel like I have enough space to fit, you know, an instrument, a equipment bag with all my music, maybe one powered JBL speaker. Like, if I slide it right down the middle under the bed, there should be enough space to put a JBL speaker. And then probably a saxophone case probably could fit up in between my desk and the door, like on the side there. We'll see. I place where it's going to either get very hot or too cold. The pads and the glue that hold the pads on get kind of wonky if it gets too hot or too cold. They expand and contract, and then that's when you have to get your instrument repaired, and it's not really that fun. So you want to keep it in a good climate controlled area. But I think I have enough room to fit music equipment in there and still have space for other stuff. But like a mic stand, the speaker stand, all that is collapsible. It folds down. So what kind of music did you play, Ben, when you did music? Like, what kind of music did you do? At least you can't see in my window at nighttime. I was a little bit worried you could. See this window? You can't see in it at night, so that's cool. I was worried anybody coming here like early in the morning would be able to see me sleep. Should be weird, but you can't see anything. Can't see anything back here either. The only window you can see in right now is the side window. This one. You get up close to it, you can see in. Everything else is covered. But the side window I block off at night. I just put another towel in front of it. Yeah, you can't see in. That's cool. Even this one, well, actually, this window here on the side, even without this, you can't really see back there because the seat blocks your view. Shine a torch in it? I don't have a torch, but I do have a flashlight on my phone. You just see what I have blocking the window. I played everything, rock, pop, country, metal. Oh, nice, man. Like a rock band, like a Beach Boys rock band. That's cool. I primarily just went and performed like crooner music because I enjoyed it, and also I felt like I got better gigs than just like regular restaurant and bar gigs. I got to play like weddings. Hold on. There's like I feel like society's ready for Thanos. Like Thanos needs to come here and snap his fingers. There's too many people in this world. It's over 11 o'clock at night. There shouldn't be this many people on the road, but there is, because there's too many people here for the Hall of Fame baseball thing. Anyways, what was I gonna say? The type of music I do kind of opens me up to be able to do like weddings, country clubs, golf clubs, country clubs, and then like, you know, fine dining restaurants. And my whole philosophy was like, you know, if you're good at doing something and it's something you enjoy doing, like music, you might as well get paid as much money as you possibly can to do it, and then you still get paid to perform, you know, rather than performing somewhere where, you know, they're only going to throw you like $50 for the night for some dive bar. Not that, you know, dive bar gigs are actually a lot more fun than the other gigs. I'll say that, you know, there's more energy. Usually there's more energy. I think weddings were my most hated things to have to do. What kind of bug is that? Oh shit, that thing jumps. Look. Oh, I need the light. This motherfucker's jumping. It's a grasshopper. That's why I'm like, this thing's fucking jumping. I don't know if they bite. Ooh, where'd he go? There he is. Bro, there's so many bugs out here. Yeah, so anyways, weddings were always my least favorite because they're the most high stress thing, because you know, like the person hiring you wants everything to be perfect, and they basically tell you what you have to do and what you can't do, and as a musician you kind of lose that element of creativity that makes it fun, you know, because anytime I would design like a set list of songs that I would play each set, there was kind of like a mindset behind it. Like, you don't do 5 sad songs in a row, or you don't do 5 upbeat songs in a row. You got to kind of blend it and have like a really good opening song and a really good closing set song to make people want to hear you again. And weddings were always kind of, you know, it's obviously what they want, but that's why I always charged a lot of money. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a wedding, I'm going to make a lot of money for it. And I, you know, at that point, I did it however they wanted me to do it, and I didn't care because I was getting paid. But I'd rather do a funeral than a wedding. Oh, I would have to learn that song by Adele, Rolling in the Deep, if I did a funeral. I remember my favorite thing to do at wedding performances was to throw, because sometimes they didn't care what kind of set list I did. They would specifically hire me because they liked the Michael Bublé stuff that I would do. And typically they'd hear me out playing at a venue that I was hired to play at, and they would ask me to do a wedding months later. And I'd agree. And those type of, you know, hirings that wasn't through a talent agency, they let me do my usual set list usually. But one of my favorite songs to perform at a wedding, and I would make such a huge joke about it, was that song called Me and Mrs. Jones, which is basically an entire standard song about an affair. I always fucking loved doing that at a wedding. It was hilarious. But anyways, yeah, so when I'm on the road full time, I'll be doing a lot of different music venues. I think something else I'd like to expand my horizon with, once I get actual good quality camera equipment and stuff like that, is getting into videography and figuring out how that works, and you know, navigating how you get hired to do like advertisement shoots for businesses. And you know, basically the cool thing about that is everything you need for your business you could easily fit in a camper van like this. It's a type of profession where you just have to be able to get good shots, and editing skills are good. So I think once I get really good editing skills and learn how to make my own videos and have good camera equipment, I'd like to get into videography and advertising for people. I can post ads up for places I know I'm going to be, you know, and then maybe people hire you and boom. And then I could actually use my own YouTube channel content as a example, you know, a template of like, this is the kind of work that I do, this is my style. Well, those were just some ideas I had, because I'm already going to have invested in camera equipment for my van life channel. So it's like, why not, you know, try and get good with it and figure out a way to make some money off of it. Look at this. Here comes more people. They're going to pull in here thinking they're going to fill their car up, and they're not. It's crazy. Hold on, let me turn my flashlight off so I'm not obviously recording. I don't want them to think I'm recording them. I'm like tired of telling people we're closed. I was gonna wait for him to get out and try and pump it. Good luck. Pumps are shut off at night because people are too stupid and do dumb things like try and fill trash bags with gas, and there needs to be an attendant here watching at all times when people use the pumps, so we can shut the pumps off if people are dumb. Like, I've actually seen people try and fill their gas cans up with the gas can on the back seat of their car, like in the inside of it, and I have to turn the pump off and go out and be like, yo, you can't fill your gas tank up in the car, because the reason being is your floors a lot of times, especially winter, build up static electricity and literally can cause the whole ass explosion in your car. Looks like he's just using the air compressor, which literally has no gauge on it to tell you what your tire pressure is. I guess the air compressor still works when we're closed. I didn't know that. I thought everything shut off. Technically, these lights are supposed to be off. They're on the timer. They're supposed to be off at 10:30 at night, but clearly it's not working. All these lights too. It's probably for the better. I feel safer with my van out here at night with, you know, the lighting and stuff. I feel like I'm less likely to get broken into. And also, I specifically parked here because there's a camera there, there's a camera there, and there's a camera there, and all three cameras are pointed at my van, and I got a camera angle from the front, I got a camera angle from this side, and I got a camera angle from that side of my van. So you can see all angles of my van, so it's a lot safer. And these cameras are actually the good cameras. They get like clear visuals of like any license plates or anything really. This is also where the gas trucks come in to fill up at. Fortunately, I haven't had to move my van. How long have I been live for? An hour? I'm I'm only going to stay live for like another 10 minutes, I think, because I want to get inside and actually relax, drink my tea. What was I going to say? I wanted to do a game stream, but I highly doubt, like, my PlayStation does connect to my hotspot in there, but I don't think I'll have enough signal to boost, internet to stream anything from my console. I can always try it. I can stick this phone up in the window. Like, put this phone on the other side of the, what do you call it? The front window visor thing. Put it on the other side, and usually it does work when I have it right in my windshield. When I went to that camp spot over on the river over here, and I did a game stream with my phone in the window, it did work. It didn't lag. But when I tried having my phone on my desk next to the PlayStation, it did lag and it wasn't working, so. Signal boofer. Oh, yeah, I definitely do want to get one of those too. Or aren't they, isn't it more of a Wi-Fi boofer, or is it just for cell phones, but also help boof, your internet too? Like help, well, actually, I guess it wouldn't with Starlink, because Starlink is solely reliable off of, clear skies for a direct contact with actual satellites, where phones are more cell phone towers and land-based, so I guess it would be different. But still, I would like to put one of those in my van. I could probably hook it up on the inside ass end of my van next to my power system. I could just mount it to the wall. If it will work, maybe that will be, obstructed by the van. I've had phones in multiple different cars before, but this is the worst vehicle I've ever had in terms of obstructing my cell phone reception. So it's got to be like a different kind of metal. I mean, practically the whole van is metal. Maybe that's why most newer cars, like my Mazda, was mostly fiberglass. So that's probably the reason. Fiberglass doesn't really obstruct. Oh shit, it's a picture of Red Hood. I just realized that it's Red Hood. I don't know, you guys got any questions or anything? The hell? Oh, it's a moth. Oh shit, Robbie. I guess you are being reverse trolled, no pun intended. Not intentionally either. By the way, my bite or whatever is healing up better now. It's still irritated around the sides, but just so you all know, this started off at the very top here as just like, it looked like a round hole, like a bite, like a very small bite. And then the next day when I woke up, it started blistering this whole side, like my skin was peeling off. And then the next day it scabbed up. And then it started bleeding from outside of all sides of the scab wound, which was weird. And then it blistered up again. I put a Band-Aid on it, which made it blister up again, but it was like moist and not scabbing up, so I took the Band-Aid back off. And now it's starting to... I've been putting peroxide on it and this cream stuff I don't know the name of. I'm cleaning it every time I get off from work. I clean it with a wipe, one of those sanitation wipe things. I don't know what bit me, but it was something definitely bit me that either I had an allergic reaction to or it was poisonous. I don't know what it was, but I didn't burn myself. I didn't cut myself. on the side of my hand there, I actually sprained my hand, or my wrist, or I guess that's my hand. I sprained something in my hand. It's still swollen. And it, like, I could bend my fingers, but it hurts to put pressure around my wrist area. So if I try and pick something up with this hand, it actually hurts. And the funny thing is, I don't even know, like, how it happened. I don't remember how I did it. Maybe when I was working on my van, I rolled on my wrist weird, but your hand has so many small little bones in it, it's really not hard to break or fracture something. Yeah, I don't know what bit me, because at first, like, you know how you can look on Google and you could upload a picture and it'll take like a scan of your picture, and I straight up asked it. I was like, what kind of bite is it, or what kind of bug bite would cause this? And the number one thing it said was a brown recluse. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's not really that many brown recluses in New York, if any at all. They're not really a northern spider. But then I also thought, well, I did see a black widow up here once, and it was at a gas station that I seen a black widow. So if a black widow's up here, you know, maybe they are too. There's probably not as many of them up here, but there's probably some. You got to figure, like, those things would just easily crawl into somebody's car and take the trip up to New York and then hop out, and now they're up here. Hey, what's up, Hunchback? Haven't seen you in a minute. But I can't think of anything else. Well, I'm sure we have other types of poisonous spiders, but I don't know what other kinds of spiders would cause your skin cells to literally die around the bite. I must have gotten bitten in my sleep, you know. I probably rolled over on a spider crawling in my bed or something, or some type of bug. I actually need to get a new computer too, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I actually really need a new computer, but that's like last on my list. I'll get a new computer probably after, like, I'll probably get a new computer after I get a rooftop around this van. Like, the computer for me, a MacBook Pro for me, is like on the totem pole very low. I'd rather be able to stand in my van before I get a new computer. But what I do need is I need to get a new phone with that minimum 256 gigabytes worth of storage on it, because the last 2 weekends I tried making van life content. I realized, like, I wasn't even recording in 4K, but I'd like to record in 4K. I was recording in 1080p, which is standard HD for people that don't know. And the file size, like, most clips that I film are anywhere in between 3 minutes and 12 minutes long. Most of them are 6 to 10 minutes or 6 to 9 minutes. And what I do basically is I start recording and I go about doing things that I'm doing normally. There's no acting or anything. Everything I do is what I would do in real life. I'm trying to go for a genuine style channel here of, you know, what life is actually like. But anyways, I basically would start recording for a video, and then I would check my storage. I have to check my storage constantly. And I'd start out at, like, basically if I delete every video on my phone right now, it would put me at about 41 gigs of storage. Or I'm sorry, it would put me at where I'm at 41 gigabytes used of storage. And that includes the apps on my phones, pictures saved on my phone, emails, stuff like that, text messages. And then the software for Apple itself is around 11 to 12 gigabytes. So, boom, right there. This is a 64 gigabyte phone. Just the Apple software itself already takes 12 gigabytes out of my 64, which is crazy. I literally deleted my entire life off of both of my phones. I deleted every single video. I just hope that most of my stuff I'm deleting are backed up on iCloud, and if I needed to, I could go on my iCloud and find it. But basically, I've deleted my entire life off of both phones, and I'll go record, for my video, and then after maybe about 20 clips that I filmed, my phone will be up to like 56 gigabytes. And then at that point, what I had to do is I had to figure out what I wasn't going to initially put in my video and airdrop it over to my other iPhone and then delete it off of this one to create space to edit a video and then have room to download the edited video. Because that's the thing. Say like I use up to 54 gigabytes out of 64, leave myself 10 gigabytes. I have to make sure that when I'm done editing the video, I have enough space to download the video I edited, which is why I can't make them crazy long, because there's not enough space to download it. And you can't, while you're editing the video, until you download that video, you can't go and delete clips that you added to your video, because it still needs those clips to exist on your phone in order to download the video. So you can't even make room by deleting stuff after you did your editing until you download it. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been offloading, clips into the other phone and then going back and using the other phone to finish recording and edit a 2-part video. And that's what I had to do this last weekend. Otherwise, I would have had to delete a lot of footage and no one would have ever seen it. It would have been like a 30-minute long video and that's it. So that's why I'm going to be getting a new phone. What I'd like to get is like maybe an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 13, where it's going to be a lot cheaper, and just buy the highest gigabyte phone, which I don't even know what that is, but I don't know what the highest Apple phones go up to, but they really should go up to a terabyte in my opinion, because Apple doesn't really give you any way of putting an SD card in. You can't increase your storage that way. You're just basically stuck with stupid iCloud that doesn't work if you're trying to edit a video, because you need the video on your phone in order to use it to edit. Like, you can't store it in iCloud and then try and edit it from iCloud. It has to physically be on your phone. How much for a White Claw machine? I have no idea. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, I have stupid Apple, but here's the other thing too. If I went with a Google Pixel phone or an Android, I really don't know how to use those, and I don't know how to edit on those. And I would literally have to relearn like a whole operating system. And I feel like I'm getting good now with editing on the app that I'm using on my iPhone. I just don't really know how to use Android that well. Like I literally grew up using Apple, so that's why I'm just kind of handcuffed to Apple. But anyways, and I don't like editing on a computer. I understand in the future I'm gonna have to get good at editing on a computer if I want really good quality content, because I realize you can only go so far on a phone with video editing. Like literally you can only go so far. Like the effects and everything else that you can do, the softwares and video editing itself on a computer supersedes anything a phone can do. I get that. So I'm eventually gonna have to learn how to do all this on a computer and be good at it, but for now I can't afford a MacBook Pro, so I'm starting out doing it on my phone. And I think, in all fairness, I think You know, I did a 2-part video last week, and I think part 2 came out really good. Part 1 was like, it was about the same as everything else that I did. But I feel like the ideas I came up with for the video of the part 2 was actually fairly decent, and it could have been better if I had better equipment. I'm not going to argue with you there, Hunchback. I agree. Nowadays, Androids probably are better than Apple. Just for the mere fact, like, if Apple wanted to sell an intriguing phone to make people like Apple again, I think the one change that they could make is adding the ability to insert a micro SD card into your phone on the side. But they'll never do it because there's no way to, I don't think there's a way to fully make an iPhone waterproof with a hole on the side for an SD card. And as you know, Apple, you can't open it like you can an Android and change the battery out or pop your SIM card in that way. But if Apple added like the ability for an SD card, then I think Apple would do good. They just painted this. What do you mean it needs a new paint job? I watched them paint this like 2 months ago. They also redid this asphalt in front of it. They did a horrible job painting this. I don't know what, they must have used watercolors or water paint. They literally just painted this 2 months ago. And they also repatched this. You can see the asphalt they repatched. The square here, the rectangle. But they did the lines and then they painted this because this wasn't here before, and by law you have to have a handicap space. We didn't have any handicap spaces, or we did, but it was so faded you couldn't see it. So they did this and put a sign in the window. But this is like, the paint job that they did it wasn't our company. They hired like a third-party company that came in and just did a crap job. But I don't know why they put the handicap spot here. Well, actually, now I do. Okay. Because you could wheel a wheelchair up this curb. You can't over there because of the curb. It's just a lot further from the door than the spot is up there. But anyways, in a roundabout way, what I was trying to say is my video qualities and my van life videos will get much better over time, kind of like wine. It'll start to age really well. Just, you know, based off of experience and also better equipment and having more storage space to do stuff, you know. I appreciate it, Ben. Thank you. So the videos will get a lot better. You got to keep in mind, I don't really have a lot of experience making this type of content. In particular, most of the content that I would edit in the past was pretty straightforward. Not really too much editing going on other than editing out like cussing and doxing and stuff like that. This is more of a creativity standpoint where like, for example, the last video I made, part 2, I actually, like, when I was doing my journal entry log, I was actually figured out how to display kind of like a flashback scene in and out through that whole entire scene that I made in a way to where people would get it and understand it, and then it would tie into the journal because that's literally what I was writing about, and everything that I showed, you know, as the flashback was actually in my journal passage. So I thought that was kind of a cool twist that I threw in there. Stuff like that is what I mean by getting better over time, coming up with like good cinematography type stuff, having a story to tell more so than just showing, you know, there's a way that you can show what life is like living in a van, but also have like a really good, intriguing storyline with it. Something else that you might see in future videos is where I'll actually begin the video. Like if something dramatic happened to me that week or day or whatever, I might start off the video with that extreme thing and then be like 5 days earlier. And then the video goes on for like 30 minutes of getting to that point and build up. So I think like having that in mind and creating videos like that, with that in mind, with a good plot and storytelling, and then also keeping it authentic and real as an experience of this is what van life to me is like. Of course, it's different for everybody. Everybody has their own interpretation of van life. Some people think you're just homeless. Some people literally would sell everything in their entire life to have the money to build something out like this and just go on the road and give up everything. It really matters to the person. Hey CWS, welcome. Ben, you didn't have to send me anything, dude. I don't know how people have my new Cash App. I've never posted it. But hey, Ben, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. You need a 256 gigabyte model. Well, I know they make a 256 gigabyte model, but I wonder if they make an even bigger model than that. What I really need is at least, I'd say, a 500 gigabyte iPhone if they make it. Hey, Veronica. A 500 gigabyte iPhone would be fantastic because here's the thing. I'm essentially recording videos for the next week, right? So not only do I need space for the video I'm currently editing that week, but I also need space on that phone to record new footage for that current week that I'm also on. So simultaneously recording new footage plus having footage while I'm editing. And as of right now, I'm not even maxed out in terms of what I plan on having space to record. I'm very limited right now, and being limited with a limited amount of footage recorded, it still took me a good 5 hours to edit that video of part 2, and then it took me 4 hours to edit part 1. And each video was roughly 30 to 35 minutes long, or I'm sorry, part 2 was closer to like 40 something minutes, but part 1 was 34 minutes. It took me around 5 hours for the second part, I know that much. So if you can imagine, if I have like a whole week's worth of footage, like that was only footage from one day. I'm talking about recording throughout a week and having to condense that into like an hour-long video basically once a week. You're going to need a lot of storage to do that. There's going to be a lot of clips. And then, you know, my plan is whatever clips I don't include in a video I release that week, eventually when I have like a members page where you all can, you know, be a member of the channel or something, I'd like to save the footage I didn't use to make a members only video showing stuff I didn't show in the, you know, public videos that I released, and actually utilizing the footage. And then that gives me a chance to make a longer video for people, or just make an entirely different style video. This is Van House Life. Basically, this whole channel is about learning how to live in this 2004 20 plus year old van on the road with limited resources and limited space with a dog. I mean, it does sound like a pretty interesting storyline already, but the inside of my van definitely looks way better than the outside of it. I will say that. Just so you all know, my phone is now at 15%, so I think once it gets to 5%, I'm going to end the stream off. Because I'm going to actually need the phone to retain some battery life to try and do a game stream. I need it for a hotspot. I don't know why I didn't just stay inside my job and bring my PlayStation and set my computer monitor up in my job. I could have just hooked up to the Wi-Fi in there. Might as well, right? I don't know if they'd let me. I'd have to get permission first, but... Oh, probably not. I wouldn't be able to do that because you have to set the alarm by a certain time, or the alarm company will call the district manager and be like, hey, just letting you know your alarm's not set at the store. I've forgotten stuff in there before after I set the alarm, and it's a whole thing. I have to call my manager and get permission to be let into the store, and then you have to use the manager's code to override. Like, my code wouldn't really, it would work, but they would still call. Because, you know, I would make sure, even employees, that nobody's doing anything nefarious once you set the alarm. So I doubt they would let me do that, but honestly, I think my phone service works better than the Wi-Fi here anyways. They have like basic internet. Basic spectrum. Pretty sure they only get like 50 gigabytes of download speed probably, and then maybe 5 gigabytes of upload speed. Basically takes like, anytime I'm at work and it's slow and I go to upload a video to YouTube while I'm here on their Wi-Fi, it takes like 40 minutes to upload a 10-minute long video. We need merch. Well, I mean, I have hats right now and stickers, but yeah, I think like once I have the van done, I'm going to buy and invest in all the merch stuff. So I will have merch if people, but I want to just get stuff that people actually buy. Like, I think people would buy candles. You know, there's people out there that like candles, especially like good smelling candles. And those are easy to mail off and send. And then also, I just hit 10%. Candles, t-shirts, hoodies, and pair of shades I posted a picture of. They're pretty reasonably priced too. I just don't per hat to make. And then I don't know what shipping would be, but they're super light. And I think the extra money I get from merch, I'm gonna give it to Valentina and buy her like more treats and bones. Like, you know, vet visit, stuff like that. I'll custom candles, and can do candles per order. You don't have to buy in bulk. And basically, I would just go through my shop, have a pre-order set up for my specialty candle, and when you order it through Shopify, it would go to them, and then I would get my cups. What if the van got hot and it melted all my candles? And I don't have the space for that. So they're kind of cool. Like, she can make me a van-shaped candle, like my van, or she can get like the type of like that. I feel like you all would definitely want to order one of those. All right, guys, I don't know if I lost service or not, but I am at 5%. My phone's about to die. I appreciate you all being here. I hope you all have a good night. We'll try it. If it lags, I'll just end it. But either way, I'm going to game out. I don't need internet to game, so...